So while I wait for Call of Duty to finish its installation, I thought I would take this time to talk about another game which launched today, The Outer Worlds. Now, if you guys are not familiar with this game, it's by the guys who worked on some of the previous Fallout titles, and they are taking their stab at a futuristic role-playing game, first-person shooter, heavy on dialogue and companions. So a lot of Fallout, a little bit of Mass Effect, and a lot of post-apocalyptic madness. And this game comes out at a perfect time. Bethesda really shot themselves in the foot with this season pass with the private servers, the $10 a month subscription service, which I talked about last night. So the fact that this game's coming out now is just perfect for these guys. And the fact that it's on Game Pass, and the fact that you can play it on both PC or on your Xbox One console, it's going to have a very large fan base very quickly. So I got to spend about 2 hours with it. It launched a little earlier today than I thought it would. It launched at about 7 p.m. Eastern, and I jumped right in. I played for about maybe 2 hours or so. Definitely got through the opening area, got to the first town hub, took on a lot of quests, went out in the world, started knocking away at some of the side missions, and here are my initial thoughts with the game. It's fun. It's definitely light on the exploration compared to a game like Fallout, compared to a game like Elder Scrolls. You definitely feel more confined in the world. Now, this may open up later as you go to other places. Maybe this is just the starting zone. Again, this is my only 2 hours or so impression with the game. But I definitely noticed that the worlds definitely feel a little tighter. And I didn't stumble into things the way that I would have on a Fallout game. It was pretty clear to me where things were hidden. Especially in the town, you could just see an alley, or you could just see a box that you jump on that leads to another box, which leads to a roof, and there's some sort of treasure up there. The exploration did not feel as genuine as it does in a Fallout or Elder Scrolls game, but the world still is pretty and is functional enough that I think you're going to get lost in it, and it definitely holds true to the role-playing aspect of it, with very distinct areas to explore and a lot of different NPCs to interact with. Now, the NPC thing is interesting to me because when the game starts, you get to put points into all of your skills. And I am very familiar with these shooters where typically you get to put points into like strength or some sort of like dexterity or some, intelligence, stuff like that. I always go, always, I go for stuff that's like heavy charisma, right? That's what I'm interested in because that allows you to open up more dialogue options. The combat in of itself is serviceable. You basically have this bullet time effect. As soon as I realized I had that, I put all my points towards persuasion and intellect and that sort of things because I didn't necessarily feel that I would need a boost from my stat system in terms of combat. It's pretty easy to fight. I definitely didn't seem to have an issue. Headshots do count for more damage. So when you combine a keyboard and a mouse with slow motion bullet time, every single shot's a headshot. I don't have an issue with that. But because I put so many points into these bonus dialogue options, I found conversation going a little too easy in the town. And everybody just spilled their guts to me. So you have the typical dialogue list of things to choose from. What I like is that unlike what Fallout has done, where your lines are fully voice acted, you are a silent protagonist. You can read what the description is, and when you click on it, the character just responds. So Fallout had this issue where they really started to do a lot of shorthand, and sometimes the words they used to describe the phrases didn't always match up. And you would click on something thinking you were saying it in a polite way, and you ended up coming off as an ass and offending people. Something that they definitely did not remedy in Fallout 4. And it was very frustrating. So what they, with this game, since your protagonist is silent, you can see exactly what they say. And it does, like, say, for example, you have enough points in, like, persuasion or something. it'll put in brackets and it'll say, hey, because you have enough persuasion, you can say this instead. And pretty much every dialogue I've encountered with the 20 or so NPCs I've met so far, and again, early impressions, this could change, I got everything I wanted from people. I had NPCs fighting for me right off the bat. I had NPCs giving me their gear. I had NPCs spilling the guts, giving me the secret treasures, giving me the codes of the saves, whatever it happened to be. I was basically just a master manipulator. And it was like not as challenging because I basically had my way with everybody. I guess there's probably some sort of condition in which these fail. Either that or I've just put so many points into it that I'm just like overly maxed on that situation where I'm never going to fail any dialogue. But it does kind of break the illusion a little bit when, you know, some random guy, for example, I walk into the bar. I talked to the bartender for about 10 minutes. She told me every possible thing. I exhausted every single possible dialogue option with her, and it just didn't feel as earned, I guess, as maybe previous games. Now, this system is dated. You know, you think back to, you know, we really saw this in Fallout 3. Actually, really, the original Fallout, honestly. But, I mean, I think people really started to play those games more at Fallout 3. So we're talking, you know, over 10 years at this point. So maybe this system's a little played out. I'm not really entirely sure, but definitely felt like I was just getting my way with things. Now, the rest of the game in terms of stat points and in terms of perks are amazing. Every time you level up, it's very clear what you're putting your points in towards. There's a really good system where you put points towards a general category, and once it reaches a certain level, you can put points into different sub-skills. You also can pick a perk every couple levels with things like faster run speed, or you can carry more, or, you know, you're less susceptible to certain types of damage. That's all really cool stuff as well, because you can really customize your character to your liking. I'm one of these guys who likes melee weapons, and I'm a pack mule. I pick up every single thing I could find. I'm a total klepto. So I went for a skill where you can fast travel while encumbered, which really is going to pay for itself, because I know this game is going to have these instance dungeon areas where I will pick up every possible thing, and instead of having to slowly crawl back to a vendor where I can sell items, I will be able to fast travel while over encumbered. To me, that is the most broken OP ability you can give me, a monster time saver for my particular play style. But I'm excited because it does really tickle that nostalgia vibe of the old RPG elements. And you really think about it, and outside of Skyrim, which is pretty old at this point, Fallout 76 just didn't answer the mail on that at all. And I think people were really yearning for a game like this, and it comes out at a perfect time. Had this game come out against, you know, like a Fallout 3 or even a Fallout 4, how well would it be received? Probably not as much, because it's definitely a lot lighter on some of the early stuff that I'm pointing out in terms of just general map layout and exploration. But I think it's one of those things where it's good enough at a good enough time that definitely is rewarding, and it's playing it is almost like an FU to Bethesda at this point. So you have that going for you. Plus you have, you know, a team that worked on previous titles who really inject a lot of that great charm and charisma and world building into the game that makes you feel like a genuine part of it. So I'm excited for the ride. I'm definitely in. I will be playing on PC. Last thing I'll mention specific to PC, this game does support ultra widescreen resolution, 3440 by 1440, which is awesome. Weirdly enough, you can only play it in windowed mode, which is a full screen window, which is fine. When you jump to full screen, it drops down a couple resolution pegs. I'm not really sure if that was intended or not. I've never seen that in a game before. But hey, native ultra-wide support, I'm a fan of it, and you're going to be able to adjust that field of view, get a nice, crisp picture, great draw distance, looks phenomenal on my 2080 Ti. Very, very excited to continue my adventure with this game. So I will give updates later on when I find things that are cool, whether it's little videos and tutorials, or whether I just talk about it again during my final thoughts video on this. But I thought it'd be beneficial to give an early impression while I wait for this bar to fill up. I still got a little bit of time to go, but don't worry, I'm going to cut the video off here. leave a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts and experiences are so far with The Outer Worlds. Let me know if you feel the way I do with how to min and max your character in a sense to break the dialogue. And let me know if there are any cool NPCs or quests or anything that you caught that really took you back. Because I think this game is going to be something that we all share and explore together. And I think we're all going to be finding a lot of fun little bugs and Easter eggs and jokes and that sort of thing. So keep the dialogue rolling, guys. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Have a phenomenal weekend when it starts. I know I will. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.